Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So let's go through the answers for topic 7 on file. So the first question, the following incomplete program is supposed to write hello world to a file named myfile.txt. Fill in the blanks to complete the code. So the first line, we would import the related package. So we would write import java.io.asterisk. When we use asterisk, that means that we are importing everything inside the IO package. The next line, we have public class write file, and then public static void main string args throws IO exception, right? Because we are using input output. Next line, it says here set up file and stream. So we would write file out file equal new file, and the name of the file is myfile.txt. The next line, the hint is equal new file writer out file. So in front of it, we would write file writer FW. You can call it whatever you want. In this example, I use FW. And then the next line, we would write print writer outstream equal new print writer FW. So over here, you have to call it as outstream because if you see at the last line, you have outstream.close. So that means that your print writer, you need to call it as outstream. And also in your new print writer, FW, so if you call it other than FW, then you would use whatever variable name that you use. Then you have to write hello world to the stream. So you would write outstream.println hello world. Let's look at this code. So over here, I wrote import java.io.file, import java.io.filewriter, and import java.io.printwriter. So this is the same if you write in one line import java.io.asterisk. Right? So in asterisk, it covers everything inside the IO package. In the answer that I showed before, I wrote public static void main string args throws IO exception. So what if instead of writing IO exception, I write exception? Will this run correctly? So this is correct as well because exception is the general type of exception that might happen, while IO exception is the specific exception. So in your answer, you can write exception or IO exception. But see that if you have try and catch block, if in your catch block it says catch IO exception, then over here you have to write throws IO exception. What happens if the line outstream.close is not written? You can try it out and run this code. You can see that when you run this code without close method, the sentence hello world will not be written into the file. If you refer to the API, close method, it describes as close the stream and release any system resources associated with it. So that means that when you are not closing it, then the file is not being closed. I was asked this question, do we need to write these 3 lines of codes? What are the differences between them? Can we use only one of it? So the short answer is yes. How to do it? We need to refer to the API. This is the API for FileWriter. If you look at the constructors, so far we have used the first and second constructor. So what is the main difference between the first and second constructor? The difference between FileWriter, file, file, and also FileWriter, file, file, boolean append. In the second constructor, if you set the boolean append to true, it will append new value into the existing content. In the first constructor, it will replace everything inside the file with the new value only. In this API, it also shows the methods that FileWriter has. Previously, we used println method to write some value onto the stream. FileWriter does not have println method. However, it has write method. Let's look at this code. So using only FileWriter, we can write FileWriter fw equal new FileWriter myfile.txt. That is the same if you write file outfile equal new file myfile.txt, FileWriter fw equal new FileWriter outfile. Then to write hello there to the file, you would write fw.write, so you are calling the write method, and then whatever value that you want to save inside the file. And then don't forget to close your FileWriter. If you only want to use PrintWriter, you can do it. Here is the API for PrintWriter and some of the methods within it. You should refer to the API to see the full list of it. PrintWriter has a method called printLine. Using only PrintWriter, you can write it as PrintWriter outstream equal new PrintWriter myfile.txt. Similar to FileWriter, you can also write this in 2 lines. So you can write file outfile equal new file myfile.txt, PrintWriter outstream equal new PrintWriter outfile. So these two are just the same. And then to write to the file, so you can use the print line. So you are writing hello world to the stream. So you would write outstream.println hello world, and then don't forget to close your stream. So you would write outstream.close. So I have showed you how you can use file, FileWriter, and PrintWriter, and also if you choose just to use FileWriter or PrintWriter. The second question, complete the code to read the hello world string from the file in the previous question. So we have file in file equal new file myfile.txt, and then file reader equal new file reader in file. So over here you should fill it in with buffered reader br equal new buffered reader file reader, and then we have string, we call it str, then str equal to br, which is your buffered reader dot read line, so you are reading the line inside your file. So do we need to write file, file reader, and buffered reader? See that you only want to use file reader, so you can do it. So over here is the API. In the constructor, we can see that in file reader, it takes in the file. And then the methods inside file reader, we have read. If we rewrite the code to only use file reader, so we can write it as file reader equal new file reader myfile.txt, so that is our file. And then we can have system.out.println filereader.read. When we run it, filereader.read will give us the value 72. 72 is the ASCII code for the letter H. What should we do if we want it to display the letter instead of the ASCII code? So in this line, I wrote system.out.println, and then I cast it to char. So we have char filereader.read. So it will cast the ASCII value to the letter. So when you run this code, it will show the letter E. It shows the letter E instead of H because in my system.out.println, the first line I have filereader.read, so that will read the letter H, and then the next line system.out.println filereader.read, that will read the letter E, which is the next letter. Remember that if you don't cast it, it will show the ASCII code. If you want to read the whole letters inside your file, then you can use the while loop. So we can write while character not equal to -1, so -1 means there is no more character inside the file. Then we can have system.out.print char character, so you have to cast it. And then to read the next line, you would have character equal filereader.read. Then it will display hello world. If you look at the API, you can see that for the method read, it reads a single character. So that's why inside your while loop, you would say something like while read is not equal to -1, where -1 means there is no more character. If you use readLine method, then it reads a line of text, so the whole text. So if you use the while loop, you can write something like while readLine is not equal to null, because that is the end of file. There is no more line. So just to be clear, read method, just a single character, readLine, a line of text, so a string. Say that you only want to use buffered reader. So if you look at the constructor, it says here buffered reader, reader in. So it creates a buffering character input stream that uses a default size input buffer. So inside this buffered reader, some of the methods such as read and also readLine. Using only buffered reader, you still have to use file reader, because if you refer back to the API in the constructor, it takes in a reader. It does not take in just the file. So you can write as buffered reader br equal new buffered reader, new file reader, myfile.txt. So you write everything in one line. If you don't want to write everything in one line, you can write it as what we did before. So you can have file reader equal new file reader, myfile.txt, and then buffered reader br equal new buffered reader file reader. It's just the same thing. If in your file there's only one line, so you can have system.out.println br.readLine. So it will read the text in that line. Say that your file has more than one line. You can use the while loop. And as I mentioned before, if you use readLine, it reads a line of text, so it is a string. So that's why you would write while str not equal to null. Using readLine, it will read line by line. Another way of doing it, if you want to use read method, it will read a single character at a time. So you would write read not equal to -1. So it goes through your character at a time. Readline or read, so it depends on what you want your program to do. Both would work quite similarly. You should try and run this code to see what would be the output of it, and to make sure that you understand the difference between readline and read, and also using buffered reader or only file reader. Question number 3. Consider the Java program below and answer all the following questions. So in the code, we have import java.io.*, and then public class test program, public static void main string args throws IO exception. And then given is file in file equal new file c/java/test.txt. And then we have string str equal br.readline, so it's reading from the file. And then we have br.close. So question A, complete the code to read from the file. So we know that we should use file reader and buffered reader. So you can write file reader fr, or you can call it whatever you want, equal new file reader in file, right? Because the given file is called as in file. And then you need to write your buffered reader. You have to call it br, because if you look at the last line, we have br.close. So your buffered reader br equal new buffered reader fr. Question B. What is the name of the file used in this program and what is its type? So if you look at file in file equal new file test.txt, so the name of the file is test.txt and the type of it is a text file. Question C. What is the main purpose of the program? So if you look at the code, the main thing to look at is br.readline, right? So for question C, you can say reading the string from the file. If over here you use br.read, then only you would answer it will read a single character at a time. So it really depends what kind of method you are using inside your program. Question D. What is the last statement in the program used for? So the last statement is br.close. You can say that it is to close the file that was used, or to be more specific, you can say that the close method, it closed the stream and released any system resources associated with it. So that is the description that you can find in the API. Question E. Suppose that the second line in the file contains a double type value. Write the Java statement to read this value and store it in a double type variable named amount. So if we look at readLine method, so I have screenshot the API over here. So readLine reads a line of text, and whatever that it is being read from the file, that is of type string. But right now in this question, we want to store it in a double type. So what we should do is we need to pass the string into double. So you can write double amount, because that is the variable name that you should use, equal double.passDouble, and then reading from the line br.readLine. You can also write it in two line. So if you want to use str equal br.readLine, that's fine. And then you would have double amount equal double.passDouble str. Both are doing exactly the same thing. It's only that you are writing it in one line, or you want to write it within two lines. Question F. The first statement in the program is replaced with the following statements so that the file to be used is chosen by the user using the JFileChooser object. However, some parts of the statements are missing. Fill in the missing parts with the correct Java codes. So you are given JFileChooser equal, and you need to fill that up. So if we look at the API, in the constructor, we have JFileChooser and also JFileChooser file current directory. So it says that it constructs a JFileChooser using the given file as the path. In this question, if you look at file in file equal new file c/java/test.txt, so the path is given over there. So in your JFileChooser, you can straight away write equal new JFileChooser and then the same path as what you can see in file. So c/java/test.txt. You don't actually need to specify the exact file because JFileChooser will open the directory where you can select the specific file. So you can write JFileChooser equal new JFileChooser c/java. If test.txt does not exist, then when you run this code, it will point to the default directory, not the c/java. It might point to your C drive. You should try and run this code and see what happens when test.txt does not exist. Then the next line, you would write chooser.showOpenDialog null, and then file in file equal chooser.getSelectedFile. So on the last line, that means that when you select the file test.txt, then that value will be saved inside your file in file. That's why in your JFileChooser, you don't have to specify the name of the file. If say that you don't know what is the directory of your file, then you can use infile.getAbsoluteFile.getParent. So it will show you your infile, which is your test.txt, and the path to get to that file. So you can try and run this code to see what would be the output and what would be printed out in your system.out.println if you run that line. Question number 4. Consider the incomplete Java program below. So it says the program will read data from the file in data.txt and display the file content on the screen. Write a statement at line 9 to declare infile to be a reference variable of type scanner and associate infile with indata.txt. At line 12, 14, and 16, read the file content, which are the first name, last name, and salary respectively. At line 21, close the file stream. Complete the above program so that you can produce the following sample output. Andrew Miller 65789.87, Sheila Green, and then Amit Sethi. So the first one that we need to do is write a statement at line 9 to declare infile to be a reference variable of type scanner and associate infile with indata.txt. So there are three ways of doing it. The first way is you have file and also scanner. So you can write file equal new file, and the file that you want to refer to is indata.txt. And then you have your scanner infile equal new scanner file. The second way is you combine the file and scanner, so you would create an object of the file within your scanner. So you can have scanner infile equal new scanner, new file indata.txt. The third way is you can have your scanner infile equal new scanner, and then you have your string indata.txt straight away inside of your new scanner. You can refer to the Java API on scanner to know more about it. So over here, the constructor, you can see that we have used the first one, scanner, and then it takes in the file source of it straight away. What we have been using so far, we have used scanner input equal new scanner system.in. So that would refer to scanner input stream source. In the scanner class, you can also see the methods that scanner has. For example, we have used next, next line, next double, and so on. You can refer to the API to see what are the methods that scanner has. Going back to the question, at line 12, 14, and 16, read the file content, which are the first name, last name, and salary. So line 12, we can write first equal infile.next, line 14, last equal infile.next, and line 16, salary equal infile.next double. You should know which method you should call and use based on what variable has been declared. For example, over here we have string last, string first, and then double salary. That's why your salary, it should be salary equal infile.next double. For the first and last, you should use the next method, not next line. Because if you look at the sample output, it shows Andrew Miller 65789.87. So everything is in one line. When we use next method, it takes the complete token of it. You should try and run the code and see what happens if you use first equal infile.next line instead of next. We have covered about next and next line when we learned about file. I have uploaded the code for scanner as well on your online learning for you to try it out. The last part, at line 21, close the file stream. So you would write infile.close. Question 5. Given below is a program to read a single line from the content of a file named myfile.txt using the scanner object. Fill in the missing parts with the correct Java codes. This is similar to the previous question, but this is much simpler. So you would write your file f1 equal new file. The file that you should use is myfile.txt, and then you have your scanner. Scanner read equal new scanner f1, so it reads your file. And then you have string line equal read.nextLine, and then you have to close it. You would write read.close. Last question. Complete the following program that use the file reader and file writer to copy the contents of the file test.txt to the file answer.txt. You can write your file reader first or file writer first, it doesn't really matter. So what I wrote over here, file reader read equal new file reader, and then we have at the first line we have file input file equal new file test.txt. So we would include input file inside our file reader. So you would write your file reader read equal new file reader input file. And then you have your buffered reader BR equal new buffered reader read, which is your file reader. And then we have our file writer. So you would write file writer FW equal new file writer, and the file that it should have is the output. So if you look at the second line, we have file output equal new file answer.txt. Then we have our print writer PW equal new print writer FW, which refers to your file writer. How do you know which one to use the input file or which one to use the output file? So you need to refer back to the question. So it says copy the content of test.txt to answer.txt. So you would read whatever inside your input file and you want it to be written into your output file. So the next part, we want to read the content and copy it to the other file. There are two ways of doing it. So the first one is using the read method. The second one is using the readline method. So we have covered about read and readline in the previous slides. Please refer to those explanations if you are still confused with it. So the first way, you can write while c equal br.read not equal to -1, pw.print char c. You have to cast it to char, otherwise it will show you the ASCII code. The second way is using the readline. So we should write string x while x equal br.readline not equal to null, pw.println x. And then lastly, you need to close those. So you would write br.close and pw.close. That's all for all the questions and answers for topic 7 on file.